Hello and welcome to the United View. We've had some technical problems tonight, kind of like Man United's midfield and defence, but we're finally live on air. Unfortunately, it's not good news we can bring you tonight. United had crashed out of the FA Cup quarter-finals to Arsenal 2-1. Nacho Monreal got the opener. Wayne Rooney equalised, but then Angel Di Maria saw red before Danny Welbeck returned to Old Trafford. You know, it's written in the script. He capitalised on a shocking Antonio Valencia mistake to knock United out and secure Arsenal's progress to the semi-finals. Tonight, thankfully joining us are Liam, Huzzy and Sati. Good evening to you, Liam.
Hi mate, yeah, thanks for having me on. A lot to talk about and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, lots to talk about tonight. Sati, welcome back. You've been on the show a few times. You've given us some good tips. Glad to have you aboard.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back on, and it wasn't the best results, but we'll get into that soon.
Yep, definitely. And tonight we'll welcome Huzzy to his first show. Thanks for being with us, Huzzy.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. Not the best of results, quite gutted, but let's talk about.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing, isn't it? A bad result always makes for a good show. So without further ado, let's dive right back into it. First things first, there's so much to talk about in terms of goals, saves, the red card. I think that's where we should start, though. The dismissal of Angel Di Maria, it was the game changer, I think we can all agree. Sati, what do you make of the decision? Do you think it should have been a red card for Di Maria? Do you think the first booking was a dive and the subsequent push on Michael Oliver was a yellow card offence? How do you make it?
Well, I think Di Maria was right to be sent off because you can't grab a referee like that. I think that's unfair. And the dive, I don't believe it was a yellow card because Alexis Sanchez also you could say it was dive, but it's 50-50. He went over easily and he didn't get a card for that. And also Welbeck, he got dragged out by Rojo outside the box, went inside the box, a bit like Januzaj. So it's kind of them ones he didn't get a booking, no foul given. So I don't understand why it was given like that to United's players such as Di Maria and Januzaj. But I don't believe it should have been a red. But however, saying that, Joe Hart did go up to the referee before earlier in the season and go face to face to him, and it actually made face contact with him. So that should have been a red more than anything. And the way Di Maria didn't got a red is kind of disgraceful because these referees have been very inconsistent throughout the whole season, and now it's beginning to take a toll. And no one in the media will highlight that out. They'll just highlight the fact that Man United have lost, which isn't the best of thing. But the media on with us, they're always against United, and I think Di Maria, he'll get back on it. That was probably one of his best performances of the whole season, apart from when he first joined. But yeah, he'll get back and he'll make a big difference.
It's an interesting point Sati makes there, Liam, that the consistency of the referees this season has been the troubling aspect. I think most fans would agree that while, you can forgive a referee for, say, a wrong decision because the players are so fast these days and they do try and trick the referees. It's what's hard to stomach for a fan is when referees give decisions in the same game that, they give a 50-50 decision for one side and then not for the other. Alexis Sanchez arguably went down very easily a few minutes just before Di Maria's yellow card for a dive, and yet this is what we're talking about. Di Maria's reaction was, indefensible, but at the same time, it's this consistency that we're searching for, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, making the point about refs this season, I think they've been diabolical. But then again, it's a very pressured job. And I think, look, talking about Di Maria and the red card, I think, the FA put out, rules. If you don't follow them, you're off the pitch. And, I think momentum stops when Di Maria went off. I think Arsenal, they pretty much defended pretty good, to be honest. They attacked. If it wasn't for David De Gea, it could have been even 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. But then, like Januzaj, he went into the box and, he got the yellow card for that. And it was a very frustrating game, I think, for Manchester United. I think the 12th man will be a massive key to if Man U finish fourth or not. I think, of course, the players have lots to play in it, but it's going to be very tight. And even as a neutral, I'm finding it very hard to call.
It's interesting that you touched on Januzaj there as well. He got a booking, and I don't think many United fans would necessarily argue against that. But again, Huzzy, what do you make of Di Maria's yellow card for diving, subsequent sending off, and also Januzaj's yellow for diving in the box?
I think Di Maria's red card was deserved, but then also the referee was quite inconsistent because he gives him a yellow card for that. But Joe Hart did something I would class much worse, and he didn't even get a yellow for it. And with Januzaj, I'm a fan of United, but I'm also a fan of fair play, and I'm not a fan of diving at United. And I think he's a young player. I reckon he did dive. He's a young player. Hopefully he will learn, but I don't want that stuff at United. But other than that dive by Januzaj, he did do quite good. He beat a few defenders, so yeah.
It's an interesting one, though. I mean, regardless of the fact what Januzaj did on the pitch, perhaps, I mean, it seems that he's being chosen he's being chosen as the man to come and change the game ahead of the likes of Juan Mata and Radamel Falcao. I mean, Sati, what do you make of the decision to once again leave Radamel Falcao and Juan Mata on the bench when we needed a goal?
Well, I think, I don't know why Fellaini starts, because I think everyone says that he's a long ball option. Yes, that's a long ball option in the last 5 minutes of the game. I don't understand why it's been used in the first 45 minutes. That's all he's there for, to really control the ball when crosses come in, corners come in. So that's what he's there for. I don't know why he starts. Juan Mata is a better technical player, I believe. And Juan Mata does go kind of missing in away games. As you can see, against Stoke and teams like that, he will go missing because they're not the kind of games that he plays in and plays for. So I can't really get my head around Fellaini starting, because that is something really weird, because Arsenal don't really have that many tall players except for Per Mertesacker and Gishani, you could really argue. They're not really that much of a big aerial threat. So the fact that Fellaini started is proving that he's got some good passing range in him. I can't really see him doing a 6-yard pass, because he's not the type of player. He'll win headers, and I say about 8, he'll win flick-ons. And Radamel Falcao, I feel so sorry for the man, because I want to see him do well at United. But him and Louis van Gaal don't see eye to eye, and there's something got to be seen in that, because Radamel Falcao, before he came to United, and before that, the knee injury, he was probably the world's best number 9, alongside some other greats. But he just hasn't really clicked at United. And everyone's been saying he should be given a 5-6 game run in the team. Well, he's been given that, and he scored about a couple of goals, and then he was taken straight out for Van Persie, which I don't believe is right, because when a player's on form, you shouldn't be able to drop him. You should keep him in the team, get that good run of form, so it can benefit the team and the results. But Van Persie shouldn't be starting ahead of Falcao, and the way why I agree with Louis van Gaal not bringing on Falcao was because Rooney was doing amazing up front, and for Falcao to come on, Rooney would have to be dropped back into the centre mid or centre attacking mid. So he may not have had the big effect on the game. So I think it was right to keep Rooney on in his natural position.
Yeah, those are some interesting points you make about in terms of Rooney potentially having to drop back if Falcao came on. I mean, Liam, from a neutral perspective, with United chasing the game, do you think that Falcao should have been the realistic option? Do you think Mata should have been, or do you think perhaps these players are just simply players that either Van Gaal has either inherited or taken on a punt, and they've not worked out, and he's already discarded them potentially in his mind?
Well, I think he's already discarded Falcao. I think, to be honest, why you're not bringing him on personally? To when you're down 10 men, fair enough. Rooney got the goal, and he played really well. But what I like about Falcao, he can turn on defenders, and if you're going to turn on a tired Mertesacker, the chances are something's going to happen, and it's going to come out of it. But yeah, I just think Falcao not playing, it's just coming more of a sign of, okay, yeah, he's had a fair few games, to prove himself, and he has got a few goals. Maybe not the goals that all the Man U fans expect. I mean, yeah, he's on such big money, and to 250 grand a week, whatever it is, and to wear that badge, they expect goals. But it's so hard, for him. I think Mata, a creative player, someone who can trick, defenders, another player that could have been brought on when a tired Arsenal defence, at the end of the day, they're going to be panicky. It's 2-1. To be honest, they really want to replay, considering they got to go to Monaco and try and get a result there. So why Van Gaal wasn't brave enough to try and change it around when nothing was going for him that last stage, the few last stages, after the Di Maria sending off, it does baffle me a little bit. And I honestly can't see Falcao signing on after summer. I think he'll go back to Monaco.
I mean, bold words there from Liam. I mean, Huzi, what do you make of the situation with Falcao? Do you think his time's up at United? And also potentially Juan Mata's time, because he's not getting many starts at all, and he's not even seeing much game time when we would technically, as Liam says, need someone with that creative ability to come off the bench and change the game.
Firstly, Juan Mata, I feel quite sorry for him because at Chelsea he couldn't make the first team, and then at United he can't make the first team, and I think he's quite a talented player. So I think he's still got a place at United, but I think Herrera's taking his place because I don't think he can play them two at the same time. And with Falcao, if he doesn't improve, I don't think he should stay because 43 million is too much. And he did just come on today, but after Di Maria's red card, I don't think he's quite fit into the team. That's why Van Gaal didn't bring him on. But he did start warming up.
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot, doesn't it, that a £43 million rated forward on wages worth 265 grand a week is effectively just a player there to warm up on the sidelines. I mean, it was a tricky game for United. I mean, we should first perhaps reflect on going back from Di Maria and Falcao to the actual goals, the first goals. I mean, Nacho Monreal scored after some excellent work in the middle from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. He made a brilliant run and he pulled the United defence apart. And, it wasn't a good game for Antonio Valencia at all, and he was sucked into the centre of the play, allowing Nacho Monreal space on the left wing to provide. Sati, what do you make of Antonio Valencia's performance in that game? What do you make of him as a right back?
I never really enjoyed seeing him throughout the whole season. So to be fair, I really never liked seeing a right back. I like seeing Paddy McNair there, or even Raphael. To be fair, but the fact that he's there and he's just, he's always got a spot there, and he's never been swapped out for Raphael. Lou Van Gaal for some reason doesn't like him. Paddy McNair, when he first came in, yes, it was against Burnley and Cambridge. Yeah, it's not the best of teams, but he did do a really good job for me, and I thought I would have played him if I was Lou Van Gaal. The fact that he made the slip up to the goal costing us the game, to be fair, but it wasn't the best performance I've seen Valencia play right back. It was a very sloppy game for him, but I would like to see Raphael McNair, but it's just the same with Valencia. He will always go down the wing, he'll knock it down to the touchline, he won't cut in on his left because he never uses his left foot, and he'll just whip it down to the left-hand side, and it will go to Ashley Young, and that's what the same thing with Valencia. Even when he was playing right wing, it was the same old. It was a bit like Nani. Every United fan was getting frustrated, and since he's gone right back, he's never had much time to really go forward, especially when Di Maria's there. He's just been sitting back, and United fans haven't really got onto his back a lot because he hasn't been whipping the ball wide over to the touchline and giving the opposition a throw-in. It's the same thing with Valencia, and I've never been a fan of him. I would like to see Raphael back into the squad, but for some reason Van Gaal doesn't rate him.
It's a really interesting point Stefan makes there. That Valencia has been preferred for a long time by Van Gaal and by Moyes as well because of his dependability on the right. He may not be the flashiest player, he may not create the most goals. One of the reasons why he's been shifted further back into defence is because of the fact that he's not creating as much. But I mean, it's a struggle, isn't it, Liam, to see when a player like Raphael is sitting out of the team because he apparently makes too many mistakes. He's sitting out of the team in favour of Valencia when Valencia is in fact, making mistakes that cost us the game like tonight.
Yeah, I mean, first 5 minutes. Yeah, I saw Valencia and Sanchez, and I was just like, "Oh my God, he's going to really be in for a tough ride." Going down that wing, I'm really sorry for him. Yeah, I mean, Raphael, he plays in that position. Why Van Gaal doesn't play him? So, I mean, a few years ago, he was actually getting goals. I remember he was doing really well in my fantasy football league. He's actually banging them in, but now Van Gaal's I think he's just so nervous to change things, and I understand, there's a big pressure in the United job, let's not take that away, but he just needs to take the leap, and Van Gaal's not doing that at the moment, and it was frustrating, it must have been really frustrating from a United fan to see that. So yeah, I think Van Gaal, honestly, he needs to stick in Raphael personally for the next matches, because I think that's where he suits best. Valencia, I think, he needs to drop to the bench and just be told, Arsenal done it with Mertesacker a few weeks. I think it's the game against QPR, I think it was, or something like that. Maybe he needs that same lesson, and Van Gaal just needs to get a bit brave and just say, all right, things need to be changed. Because honestly, if they don't start mixing around, sticking a bit of creativity, bringing on Falcao, he's probably eager, Kelsey. Not gonna lie, where would you rather play, Monaco or Manchester United? So yeah, things have to change, but not much time left.
Yeah, I mean, as Liam says there, there's not much time left at all for United. There's 10 league games left to secure top four spot. We've obviously got no cup competitions left. I mean, Huzi, what do you make of the situation with Valencia and potentially, going on to Van Gaal's selection tactics? In all, do you think that he should be bolder and play the likes of Falcao in order to try and get a top four spot, or do you think he should stick with what he's got?
I just can't wait to the transfer window because we need quite a few players. As game by game, I see a new position where we could strengthen. Right back, Valencia, he's done okay. He didn't do too bad against Arsenal today. He did better than I thought he would. And if you take him out, you've got Rafael, and I'm not a big fan of him either. Someone I'd really like to see coming is Nathaniel Klein. I think he'd suit United, and he's a huge prospect. The thing is, will he come to United if we don't get Champions League? That's why, from all the clubs in England, there's no team that you need top four this season more than Man United. And if we don't get it, things will get worrying.
That's a good point about Nathaniel Klein. I mean, the transfer speculation is mounting over Klein potentially making a 15, 16 million pound move to United, considering his contract up in 2016, and he might be angling for a move. But I mean, going on to the players that we've actually got at the moment. I mean, Sati, Angel Di Maria. I mean, he had a mindless moment. He got sent off, but he provided a wonderful assist for Wayne Rooney. And I mean, that type of goal. Di Maria on the wing crossing for Rooney to find some space to head in. That's what United fans have been craving all season, isn't it? I mean, a world-class creative midfielder providing for, what has been a world-class forward in the past.
Yeah, Di Maria he was pretty good today, to be fair. He made an absolute quality ball in for Rooney. He got his head it onto it, and it was a good goal, to be fair. And his overall game today was better than what, his last couple of games against Sunderland, Newcastle. It was a lot better to see Di Maria in the limelight, not scoring goals, but assisting them, and also playing a good little flicks on corners as well. He was doing well, and I really enjoyed seeing Di Maria play on the right-hand side. Maybe I would have probably swapped him onto the left-hand side because Hector Bellerin was on a yellow card. I would like to see Di Maria gone at him with pace, power, strength, and that. He would have done really well against him. And maybe, ref would have given Arsenal a red card instead of us. But the fact that he got sent off really did put a dwelling on us because the pace wasn't there. We weren't able to, go into the final third with a bit more penetration. And I thought, our right-hand side is very good when we have Rafael in the squad because I think he's a lot better player than Valencia. Rafael and Di Maria, I don't think they've played together that much, to be fair, because when Di Maria and Rafael have been on the same pitch, it's either Di Maria in the centre mid role and Rafael right back. But yeah, it's just I want to see them two do well, and hopefully they do get a play in the next game against Spurs. But I think Van Gaal needs to do something different because every team comes to Old Trafford or when we go to their ground and they read us so easily because they'll let us have the ball and they'll just counter us. And it's the same old, especially with our defensive issues. We don't really have that much of good centre backs or full backs. The same old, the opposition will counter us, and it's the same old. And I looked at the stats earlier, and the possession for us was set 63% to Man United. And whenever do you see Arsenal have a 37% possession? You never see that happen. And they still won the game. If something needs to happen, and something needs to happen quick.
Yeah, that's a great point you make about this possession. I mean, Arsenal have shown in the last couple of weeks, I mean, they were quite happy after the Monaco defeat to let Everton have the ball for long spells of the game and counter against them when they beat them 2-0 at the Emirates, I think it was last weekend. And they showed that, again, they were happy for United to have the ball in defence, let them play it long and hope that Mertesacker could deal with the ball. I mean, Liam, do you think that Van Gaal made a tactical error, as potentially Sati says there, when Bellerin was put so early on? Do you think he should have put Di Maria on the left to go up against the young fullback and try and get him sent off? Not sent off, but it's a factor of the game, isn't it? There's a young defender on a booking, and you've got to run at them.
To be fair, I'd have kept Young on there for maybe an extra half an hour. So, he can do a few dials we all know we can do. Honestly, think that even if it's seen as not fair play or whatever, but at the end of the day, if you're so desperate to get to Wembley, and I think Man U were, if Man U were just seen against Wembley, tonight, and getting that top four as well, the buzz, just him getting to Wembley would have been so good for Man U, and it's so disappointing for him. But then again, like I say, Di Maria would have been good on that side, and Bellerin's he's young on that defensive position, and if you do pressure him, it's a big game, it's at Old Trafford, Di Maria's got the experience, big games, So yeah, I think it's a sad day, and changes need to be made. But it's just a waiting game, I think. Crucial games coming up. Many just got to be ready for it. If they're not, say goodbye to top four.
Yeah, I mean, you've all made good points there. I mean, Huzi made that point as well on potentially needing defensive recruits, and it's a waiting game until the end of the season. But of course, there's a huge fixture list piling up. I mean, we've got 10 games left, but there's a lot of tough teams waiting ahead, and the defence doesn't necessarily look capable of it. I mean, it all boils down. We can talk about individual misses, mistakes, saves, but I mean, the game after Di Maria's red, it really boils down to that catastrophic Valencia error, surely, doesn't it? I mean, Huzi, do you think that do you think United's defence has been the problem this season, or do you think it's playing players such as Valencia out of position that allows attackers to make to force their opponents into problems like that? Because Valencia isn't a right back by trade, and yet he's there, doing a job. Phil Jones came on in at half time. He's not had a lot of game time. It just seemed like a comedy of errors at the back tonight, didn't it?
Their second goal was just a mistake by Valencia, but also before 2015 we had countless amount of injuries, and for a team to do good, I think they need to have a consistent first team. Every match we had a different player in there, and if it weren't for having such a world-class goalkeeper in between the sticks, we wouldn't be fourth at the moment. We would be seventh or below, and we need to thank De Gea a lot for that. That's what he's paid to do. But I reckon if we don't get top four, I'm so worried he will end up leaving. But with our defence, it does need improving. But I'd like to comment on how good Smalling has done since his red card at City, and also how Rojo settled in so quickly. That's given me a little bit of confidence when I watch United play, to see Rojo and Smalling at centre backs. Jones, he's been inconsistent due to injuries as well. So my preferred back four for the rest of the season would be Valencia right back, Smalling and Rojo at centre back, and Luke Shaw left back. And Luke Shaw, I think he had a hamstring injury and he looked quite tired today, and that's why he got taken off at half time. I think it was a good decision, even though we don't have a good replacement. That's why I'm saying we need to sign players, because Luke Shaw came off and Rojo went there, and we've got Jones in centre back, which didn't give me any confidence. And after they got the second goal, I was just worried.
I mean, Sati, as he said there, obviously, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you look at our defence, and we haven't lost that many games this season. But at the same time, save for potentially Rojo and on occasion Smalling, there's no one really in our back line that picks themselves, are there? There's no automatic stutters. You look at our defence, and everyone's been okay, but there's no player that would walk into, say, Chelsea's defence or Man City's defence, even potentially Liverpool's defence at the moment. We just haven't got the quality there at the moment, have we?
Yeah, I think there's something missing at the back, because you look at our defence compared to Liverpool, and Liverpool, they're not better than us, I don't believe. I think the way that their the system works is a lot better, and it's a lot, it kills me to say that because I hate Liverpool with passion, but the way that their defence is working, it's better than ours, and it's shambles to say that, because we have been better than them, and there's something wrong, because we either go out, sign a centre back, a world class one, and we spread the money across the whole team, or Lou Van Gaal do what he did last week and just strengthen attack, last year, and he would just strengthen attack, which I believe was a wrong decision, because I think he should have spread it around the defence as well. I think right back position was very weak at the time. You got centre backs, Johnny Evans, Phil Jones, Chris Smalling. Chris Smalling has done well. Marcus Rose was probably our best centre back. And thinking about it, no one in our centre halves has done that well. As Johnny Evans, he shouldn't be there. We just need to go out and sign a Hummels or a Ryan, or one of them kind of players, and put them alongside Rojo, occasionally Smalling in Champions League games or something like that. But we need to go out and sign someone big, because I can't see Johnny Evans or Phil Jones, Chris Smalling being in Mark Hummels next year, because performances like this, they deserve to be in League One. It's not good enough, and something needs to change.
Yeah, I mean, Sati, those are strong points you make coming in about the defence. It's got to change, hasn't it? I mean, Liam, from a neutral perspective, how do you see United's defence shaping up at the moment? How many new recruits in the summer do you see them making? And who do you see staying? I mean, from the performances this season, it's difficult. I mean, to nail down anyone that's really going to stay and start. But who do you see staying long term at the club?
It's like it's a very hard one to call, but I look at I think it's Roy Keane who was talking to and he did make a good point about how everyone wants always such success, and at Man U they're always so really known for it, 'cause Alex Ferguson pretty much trophy every year, and that's what they're always used to. And now there's been obviously the Moyes drought, and now the Van Gaal. He's kind of thereabouts, but not that good. It's his first season. I think Roy Keane said, let's just give him a break. It's a complete rebuilding job. You lose Rio Ferdinand, Vidic, Evra. That's three humongous defenders, and you've got to replace them. At the end of the day, big clubs aren't going to really want to sell their best defenders. So it's going to be a very interesting transfer market. On the other hand, who's actually going to stay? I think the majority of the defence there now will stay, and I think what Van Gaal will do, will try and bring in as much as experience he can for the back, and then he will look at his options. Do I really need that player? And I think that's kind of what it's like at the moment. Marcus Rojo, would that have ever really been a name linked with Manchester United a few years ago? I don't think he's hasn't done too bad, but he hasn't been amazing. I'm just kind of thinking, is Van Gaal getting that kind of okay line of defence? Let's just try and get it over the edge for top four. Or is he really thinking, oh, okay, this is going to be my defence for a very long time? I'm still finding it very hard to see how Van Gaal's perspective of it. So, yes, it's going to be, like I say, very interesting market. But still, there's a massive job to be held at the top four, and if you can get it, it's going to be a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, Huzi, as Liam says there, it's going to be a long summer. I mean, it's going to be difficult in terms of looking at who we target to actually bring in and make the side better, because obviously a lot of sides like Borussia Dortmund, they'll want to keep on to Mats Hummels if they can. Juve have got a lot of good defenders, but it will be tough to tease them away, as it will, say, the likes of Rafael Varane from Real Madrid. It will cost a lot of money. Chelsea have potentially invested in him as well. I mean, there's going to be a lot of competition, but rather than potentially look forward for a moment, I'd like to go back to last summer when we let one of our young forwards go. We let a youth recruit go, and obviously he made the telling impact tonight. I mean, I think we can all say that Danny Welbeck didn't necessarily have the best game tonight in terms of his hold-up play, but he made the decisive impact, didn't he, with that goal. He stole it on Valencia's mistake. He capitalised, and he, you could see in the celebration it meant a lot to him to score the winner, didn't it? Sorry, Hizzy, you're muted now.
Yes, we're working now. I said before the game to a few of my friends that I've got a feeling Welbeck will score, and I was saying to them, I hope he doesn't celebrate, because he grew up as a United fan, just like me. He's grown up through United ranks, taught by Keane, Scholes, Van Nistelrooy, all the top players, made lots of first team appearances for us, and then he celebrated against us. Might not sound like a big thing, but it was quite shocking to see. But I think it was to replace. We replaced him with Falcao, but we expected Falcao to be like the old Falcao. So can't really blame Van Gaal for that. But he did go for really cheap, 16 million. And about the coming transfer window, we didn't spend anything in the January transfer window. So I'm hoping that we didn't spend anything, just so we can splash out in this transfer window and sign quite a few players. And I know I keep on going on about this, but we need Champions League if we want to attract the top defenders.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going to be that type of thing, tightening the belt in January in order to spend big in summer. I mean, Sati, what do you make of the whole Welbeck situation? I mean, it's easy to look back with hindsight now and say that we shouldn't have sold him, considering he scored the goal in the FA Cup to knock us out. But, I mean, at the time, it's a good deal, isn't it? £16 million for a striker that's not playing very much. But overall, considering how the Falcao deal has gone, and Van Gaal obviously doesn't like Falcao's style of play or his effort or his temperament, How big a miss is Welbeck to this team with his dedication and his work rate?
When Welbeck first did go, I was kind of gutted because, I liked him, even though, he was kind of pretty bad at times. He did lose the ball very easily. He was very weak on the ball, but I enjoyed him at United. I think he was a quality player, and he was young at the time. He's like 23 or something like that, and he's in the England squad. He can play left wing, right wing, centre forward. He's like that kind of versatile player, and that's why I thought Lou Van Gaal would keep him, because he's very versatile, can the wings or up front. And it was very strange when Van Gaal said to him, "You can leave the club." And for me, I thought he would, it would be a loan deal, and he would come back in the summer, like Chicharito, Nani, and players like that. And I thought, he would keep him on. But it's very strange the way he let him go to Arsenal as well, a rival for top four, and that this could probably cost Lou Van Gaal very, very big, because if Welbeck does score a few goals from now to the end of the season and he could put Arsenal on fire, people will look back and say, why did Lou Van Gaal did that? He brought in Falcao, and Falcao hasn't done hardly anything. He scored about 4 goals, and I think Smalling scored about 3. So that says it all, really. And to me, I don't really like Falcao this season. I enjoyed seeing him last season, the season before, but this season, I mean, he's been very poor on the ball. He's been, it looks like he's lacking confidence. And when the manager that doesn't pick you over, Fellaini in the hole, then there's something wrong. Because if Fellaini's getting picked ahead of you, there's some, you need to know why he's doing this. And Falcao's the kind of guy that will get you a goal in the last 5 minutes. And when we're playing long ball to Fellaini, I don't think Van Gaal will ever even consider bringing off Falcao. But something has to change with Falcao, because I really, he's one of them type of players that will turn defenders. And like Liam said, against a slow Mertesacker or a tired Mertesacker, he's going to obviously bounce on and score goals. So it was a strange one to leave him out from the start. I would have liked to see Rooney in the hole, but Rooney did get the goal, so fair enough to him. And Van Gaal just needs to really think about the situation with Falcao. I don't think he'll stay on in the summer. I think he'll go to Real Madrid or a Barcelona team like that, and he'll tear up the league, and we'll look really silly letting him go. But Van Gaal, he needs to stop being stubborn and really listen to the players.
Yeah, I think we can all agree with that as United fans. I mean, Liam, what do you think about the whole Falcao situation? Do you think, in terms of Welbeck, obviously it seems like a mistake now, but do you think that Van Gaal was perhaps expecting a lot more from Falcao, or do you think the problem is more so that Falcao doesn't fit snugly into Van Gaal's possession in football? He seems a player that relies more on instinct and movement, and he's obviously not a hold-up striker. How do you feel he fits into the system, or does he?
I think he's come to a club with no Champions League football. Obviously, the other clubs, obviously, like Porto, they didn't have that at the time. But he's gone into a club where it's completely kind of change. And I think the clubs he's been at, there's always been a kind of stability. I just think with Man U, there's kind of like a whole changing process. I think just chucking that kind of Falcao in the mix, I don't know if it works. And even a lot of pundits, and I have to agree with them, Van Gaal doesn't even know his correct formation still. And just talk about service again. I know people have been banging on about it. Still just isn't happening. And I think a lot of people are now starting to really criticise Falcao. And I understand, of course, you'd be frustrated. This guy's getting so much money on a week and doesn't even get on the pitch for a start. He just sits on there, gets 250 grand in his pocket, and that's it, goes home. It is a really hard one to call, because I really want him to do well in the Premier League. I can remember, when Man U got him, I was absolutely buzzing to see this kind of play in the Premier League, like so any other fans, not even just United fans. So I think it is a very hard one to call, but honestly, I think he would have made a big difference today. Imagine if he got the goal that made it 2-2. His confidence would have just been going mad. It's just those kind of, and I don't want to blame it such on Falcao. I know everyone blames on him and he's not getting goals, but you got to look at Van Gaal again. Is he doing something wrong? It's very hard. Like I say, the manager of Manchester United at the end of the day, and it's a very hard job. It's a very pressured job as well. So many fans worldwide. But he needs to I think he's being a bit safe at the moment. Of course, he's moved. Many people are shouting for Rooney to come out of that midfield role and go to the attacking role. Yeah, fair enough. Fair play to him. That's worked. That's a good move from a manager. But with the Falcao situation, I think he just needs to be involved more. And it is a very hard one to call, even just from a football fan's point of view.
Yeah, I mean, it would help being involved more than nothing at the moment, wouldn't it? He's not getting any game time at all. And it's just so galling to see as a United fan when you're needing goals. I mean, we've been struggling of late. And, bringing it on to De Gea now, I mean, one of the big reasons this season why we are where we are at the moment is because, the Spaniard is making save after save after save, and he made two world-class saves tonight. I mean, I think it was Alexis twice shot at goal, and he made two unbelievable saves. And I mean, Sati, how do you feel about De Gea? Do you think that we need a top four finish in order to keep him? Do you think he's going to Real Madrid if we finish fifth? What do you make of the whole situation?
It's a tough one because I think Dave will stay for a couple of seasons. So I think he will sign a new contract in the summer. That's the given because all this talk about George Mendes coming out and saying stuff. Yeah, agents just want more money at the end of the day, and I think Dave will sign a new contract, stay here for about 3 years or so, and he will eventually leave because a player of that quality doesn't deserve to be in front, behind Johnny Evans, Chris Smalling. He's a world-class goalkeeper, for crying out loud. He shouldn't be behind them kind of players. Yes, that's kind of disrespectful, but the only player that in our defence has pretty done well this season is probably Marcus Rojo and Luke Shaw. That's the only players that you can really say have done well. And David De Gea, I feel really sorry for him because he's been called upon time after time after time, and this season's really proven why he's probably one of the world's best keepers there are. Because if you look at his rival competitors, you got Manuel Neuer, Thibaut Courtois. Their goalkeepers know their defence inside out. They know that they'll be playing with John Terry, Gary Cahill, Azpilicueta, and Ivanovic every game, week in, week out. And Neuer will know his back four inside out. David De Gea won't know his back four, and he won't know which one will be playing in front of him. So that's kind of a given. That's why he's probably the best keeper in the league this season, in my opinion. But I think he will leave eventually to Real Madrid, and it will be kind of hard going because he's probably a quality individual on our team. And if we do lose him in the summer, I'll be gutted because I don't think there is someone at this present moment in time that we can get that will be able to replace him. Because if you look at the goalkeepers that have already been taken, we got even linked with Ter Stegen because apparently David De Gea was going to leave last season. So it's one of them ones. If he does go, I'll be gutted, but I think he will sign a new contract and stay.
Yeah, I mean, Huzi, it's fairly ominous, as Sati says. I mean, he may well stay, he may well sign a buffer contract, but it looks like United may have to put in a release clause, around 40, 50 million quid if they get their way. But, it's one of those tough situations, isn't it, that we've been so poor. We've relied on De Gea so many times this season. I mean, it's gotten beyond the point where you can kind of justify it as luck or so. He is saving us. That's his job, but he is saving us points, he's saving us games, he's saving us goals. And it's even against Arsenal where we lost, it could have been 4, it could have been 5, as Sati and Liam said earlier on. How do you feel about De Gea? Do you think we need him in order to have a chance for the top 4 and potential title challenges over the next few seasons?
I think we need to just give him a big sum of money if that's what it takes to keep him. If we can give Falcao, God knows how much, where is he on? 245k a week, and he can get us 4 goals. We can give De Gea much more than that because he saves us week in, week out. If it wasn't for him, it'd be embarrassing to see where we were in the league. So we've got a lot to thank him for. And when we beat Arsenal at the Emirates, we should have lost that, and we didn't lose it because of David De Gea. He put in so many tremendous saves. Jack Wilshere had a very good chance on goal. He saved that. But I feel sorry for him because, as mentioned a minute ago, he doesn't have a consistent defence in front of him. He doesn't know who. I'm sure he has a preference who he wants in front of him. Every game is someone different. And Johnny Evans, he's not United quality. He's Liverpool quality. He shouldn't be at United. I hate Liverpool with a passion, and just someone like Johnny Evans should be there, not at United. He hasn't had a good game for us this season. I thought he should step up to the plate now. He's been training with Alex Ferguson for years. I thought now Ferdinand and Vidic have left, him and Smalling should step up and be the new Ferdinand and Vidic. He can't do it. We play him and he ends up spitting on a player. That's not Man United. You don't spit on players. That's disrespectful. And I just hope he goes and we get a little bit of money for him we can spend on someone else.
Yeah, those are strong words there. I mean, Liam, how do you feel about the whole spitting incident? Do you think this 6-match ban is effectively the end of Evans at United? I mean, he's been given a lot of chances, but he's showed poor form. He's been injured a lot. He was talented before. He showed a lot of promise, but he just hasn't fulfilled it. And he's 27 now.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, that's a player, we just talked about your question earlier about what players do I think will go. I think he will be one, potentially. Has Van Gaal honestly got time for a guy who wants to spit at someone and then, get then he's banned? It's ridiculous in that kind of, you're a professional football player, you're earning that amount of money, and you go to do something stupid like that. Now, I'm not saying Johnny Evans would have made a humongous difference to the result today, who knows, but you're an adult. You've got to take some responsibility. The badge you put on, who you're playing for, and yeah, like I say, will Van Gaal honestly think, oh yeah, I want that guy, Northern Ireland captain, playing at Manchester United? No, he does honestly not deserve it. I could say the same for Chris Smalling, Phil Jones. I don't think they've particularly been around there. But it's just what Man U've got at the moment, and Man U fans can complain about it for the rest of the season, but the window's not coming anytime soon, so you might as well make the most of what you got now and just try and fight out a top 4 spot. And I try and stay positive. And like I said from the start, the 12th man's going to make a massive difference, home and away.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so many tough games coming up. I mean, Sati, how do you feel about the defence that Van Gaal's currently playing? Do you think it's more the fact that it's mistakes with the players we've already got? Do you think it's the fault of him for not identifying targets early enough last summer and potentially January? Do you think he's made a mistake by letting himself wait for the right player to come along while the players he's already got continually make mistakes that are costing us games? They're costing us cup competitions, as Valencia did tonight.
Yeah, I know with the back four that Van Gaal chooses, I don't think it's good enough for United. But as Liam said, we've got to make the most of what we've got. And going on transfers wise, I think we put a 35 million bid in for Otamendi in January, and I think that was publicly known. And I was pretty pleased. I thought it was going to get accepted and we'll get the player. But apparently his release clause was £39 million, and I was kind of scratching my head thinking, why didn't Louis van Gaal just pay the extra £4 million? If he spent near enough 60-odd million on Di Maria, yes, he's a world-class player, but if he doesn't spend that much on a player, I'm sure he can afford £4 million more on a centre defensive player that we've been lacking for the whole of our season. So it's kind of one of them ones where you're just thinking, why not just pay it? But yeah, going back on to earlier in the season where we played the likes of Burnley, Leicester, lost and drawn, but in them kind of games, I think our best centre-back throughout the whole season was probably Tyler Blackett in them kind of games, because he was probably showing up Phil Jones and Johnny Evans when we were playing 3-5-2. He was showing them up and saying, this is how you should play football, and he was doing really well. For some reason he hasn't been playing lately, fair enough, but Johnny Evans, I don't know how he is playing for Man United. He's robbing Man United of whatever his salary he is, because it's beyond me how he starts and even gets on the bench for United. He shouldn't even be in the squad, not even under 21s. He's that bad, and I've been saying it for a very long time. I thought, when Rio and Vidic left, I thought, he'd probably step up to the plate. I think he's like 27, and he hasn't probably had one good season in his whole career. It's pretty bad. He's had the likes of under Fergie at him, Moyes, he isn't much influence, but still, and he's had Lou Van Gaal, quality managers there, but something's got to change with him. Either he goes or he just goes and teaches under 21s, because he isn't good fit enough to play for the senior squad. So he's got to go. And like Phil Jones, I really thought he was going to be a star here, and I think he'd be paid £17 million for him. He shouldn't be at United, let's be honest. And Chris Smalling's done all right since he got the red card, but not United quality. That's about it, really.
Really strong words there from Sati. I mean, it's particularly, I think we can all agree that it's particularly frustrating as United fans to see to see young players not fulfilling their potential with us. While Danny Welbeck was a youngster, and now he's not completely fulfilling his potential at Arsenal, but he's obviously done it tonight, and that's knocked us out. And it's a huge blow to the season, but it's not a crucial one in terms of the overall season, because I mean, Van Gaal said before the game that the ultimate goal this season is a top 4 finish, and that has to be it. I mean, looking forward, guys, Huzi, how do you feel about our top 4 chances now? Do you think that the defeat to Arsenal will hit us hard in terms of confidence, going into games against a lot of our rivals for the top 4 places? Or do you think we can still achieve that despite the defeat?
I think the loss to Arsenal, surprisingly, I don't think it will be a big blow to our confidence, because I would like to give credit to the boys tonight because the performance improved a lot since the past few games, and I was really impressed by the performance. But to be honest with you, looking at our fixtures, I don't think we'll get top four this season. I'm just being honest. We've got Tottenham next week. Not too sure about that. We've last 5 games, I think it is. We haven't beaten them. And at home, we've had games at home with them, obviously. We haven't beaten them at home either. And then after that, we've got, excuse my language, Liverpool. And I reckon that will be a tough game. Surprisingly, Anfield is tough, even though Aston Villa won there this season. But, you know, the Premier League champions, Man City, they find it tough to win this. So it must be a tough place. Looking forward to going there and hopefully we can get a result.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few games in there. Van Gaal's, tended to do well this season against the top sides. I mean, it's unfortunate against Arsenal, but I mean, Liam, how do you feel about United's top four chances? Do you think the defeat will be too big of a blow to them, or do you think that the players can, can United take anything from this defeat going forward? Because as he says there, the performance was a marked improvement on some of the football recently.
Yeah, I agree. And I think first half an hour, I think Man U, it was very back and forth, but I think, Man U had a bit of a fit in the game, and yeah, it's some great football against, good Arsenal sides. They're doing the right third in the league. Top four, though, I remember when I started doing the United View, I said it was always a 50-50, and it's still today it's 50-50. I think tonight's game will really be a massive blow, because if they got to Wembley, the confidence with the fans, the players, they would have loved the day, and they at least have had something to fight for. I know top four, obviously, is something to fight for, but they would have had that extra thing where they knew if they got that trophy and the top four, how amazing would that have been? So it's really down to the players and down to Van Gaal. I think, honestly, Van Gaal, I wouldn't like to say it's a make or break, because I think he will, of course, still be the manager for the next season, but I think it will really backfire on him if it's Europa League, because most United fans, I don't think he will even want Europa League. I remember watching a few interviews on a few different channels, and they don't want Europa League. They don't want to be going to, Besiktas on a Thursday night away. They want good Champions League football, what they've known for years. But then again, Liverpool, they don't obviously say well in the Champions League, and they've had a massive period of not getting in it. Our menu kind of going through that phase, but they just need to, maybe not the same phase as Liverpool, but the same phase just needing to rebuild the team. It is, like I said, it's a really hard one to call. Time will definitely tell, and I really do think Van Gaal will be a massive part, a humongous part to play. I know obviously the players got to do their bit, but whatever formation is used against the different teams, obviously different teams, like I've said last week's video, the week before, now in the Premier League, anybody can be anyone. A few years back, you'd be saying, oh yeah, Man U versus on the Newcastle, that's going to be a 3-0, 4-0. But now it's more people can upset you. Only luckily Young was at the right place, right time, fair play. It wasn't easy to be able to tap it in 3 points to Man U, and they really needed that big time, considering all the other teams got 3 points on the board as well. So it's going to be very tight, but looking forward to it as a neutral.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a thrilling race. It's definitely, it's one of those that's almost certainly going to go down to the last day, given the form of the sides, and as Liam says there, the upsets that are available. I mean, Sati, how do you see the race for the top four? Do you think Van Gaal can still lead us there? Do you think the players have the confidence in him at the moment? Do you think we can actually get that top four spot?
I don't know, it'll be tough. It'll definitely go down to the final day. At the moment, we're not looking like the best team that will get top four. At the moment, on current form, I'd probably say we aren't going to get top four on current form. But saying that, United have got that in them, in their locker. They know how to get top four. They know how to win league titles. They know what to do, what it takes. So many of them players have experienced it. So, it's going to be a tough one. It will go down to the final day. I think the players have got full confidence in Van Gaal. Not some of them, maybe not Falcao. He won't be there next season. But yeah, I think it's going to be one of them ones. If Van Gaal doesn't get it, there will be big questions asked about his managerial skills. But I still believe he's the man to take us forward. And I'm just thinking that Van Gaal was going to do what Mourinho did last season, where he got his team third. Mourinho did concede a lot of goals to a weaker opposition here. He lost to Crystal Palace and them kind of teams, and he got third. Just about near enough. But I think Van Gaal's going to take in them footsteps where he just gets the team on top 4 first season, and then second season you'll go out and blow out quite a lot of money. But Mourinho didn't do that. He bought well wisely, and he had a good squad to start off with. But I think Van Gaal will go out next summer and bring in the correct players that he wants, and then he will go out full throttle for the leagues out. That's what I believe will happen for Van Gaal. But if he doesn't get top 4, then players that he wants won't come, and we'll probably be signing players like Leon Osman and them kind of players. So it's going to be a tough one. Van Gaal, he needs to change his philosophy a bit, I believe, because the way he's been playing this. Combination of Herrera and Blind. I like them both, but I don't think they work well together. I know that's pretty hard to say that, but because I've been playing about 5 games or so. But if Carrick comes into the squad or with Herrera or without Herrera, Herrera made us tick today, and when he went off, we looked a lot loose and ragged, and Arsenal bossed him midfield once Herrera went off. So if he doesn't play, that's when we'll probably concede a lot of goals, and it's just going to be them ones. It'll go down to final day, but I do think we will get top 4.
I mean, as he says there, I mean, it's going to come down to the final day, probably. I mean, I just want one-word answers from you guys then. I'm asking you to stick your necks out and say whether we're going to get top 4. I mean, Huzi, I'll come to you. Yes or
no? Is don't know an option?
No, you've got to go yes or no.
No.
No. Oh, we've got a no there. I mean, Liam, we're going to come to you next. Yes or no? Are United going to get top 4?
Asked me that questions a few weeks ago. I'd have been probably yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, that's 2 no's.
Honestly, I'm not trying to put a downer on the whole thing. I know it's such a down day, but I just honestly don't think.
As if the night couldn't get any worse. I mean, Sati, on a 3-man panel, you've already been outvoted. But do you think United will get top 4 or not?
Yeah, of course. I've got faith in Van Gaal, but it's going to go down to the final day. But Van Gaal will get it right.
Superb. All right, so that's 2-1 that United aren't going to get top 4. So we end the note on a desperately disappointing point there. But I will.
What do you say, Tom? Yes or no?
I'm going to stick my neck out and say yes. I mean, the fixtures are against the Liverpool and Arsenal's form suggest they're going to get it, but I mean, I think we've got enough about us. So, I'll stick my neck out and say yes. But
I only say that just for the fact of form. I think not form, sorry, the fixtures. I honestly think just momentum, and I really do think momentum is big, especially after today's game. Really plays a big key, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible fixture list. If you could plan a fixture list, that'd be the one you wouldn't want. But United have got it. United have lucked out, and they're just going to have to, pull themselves through. I mean, and that brings us to the end of the show, guys. So thanks for joining us. I mean, it's a disappointing night as a United fan, but onwards and upwards. It's just a defeat in the cup. And I mean, we obviously 2 of you don't think we'll get top 4, but we'd take top 4 if it was an option now. So, I mean, Liam, where can people find you tweeting?
You can find me at Liam Peel Edwards, and thanks for having me on.
Cheers, you're welcome back anytime. I mean, Huzi, great first show. Where can people find you tweeting?
Thanks a lot. You can find me at Huzi MUFC. Always tweet about United. I try to be positive.
Apart from tonight, yeah. I mean, and Sati, welcome back again. You've been superb again as always. You've got a lot of knowledge, a lot of statistical knowledge. Where can people find you tweeting?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I'll be on Twitter at UnitedMan_MU.
At UnitedMan_MU. All right, brilliant. Thanks, guys. I mean, that's it for tonight, guys. We've wrapped up. It's a disappointing night. Danny Welbeck returned to United, returned to Old Trafford, his old hunting ground, and he's knocked us out. But it's onwards and upwards, as I said before. We're still going for the Premier League. We're still top 4, and hopefully we'll get it by then. So, does anyone want to do the honours? With the Come On United here? I'm asking one of you. Got to go for it.
I've never done it, but I'm not going to do it just because I'm a neutral, and I don't know if it makes sense. So go on, say you do the honours.
Well, then it falls to either Huzi or Sati to say it.
I'll give it to Huzi because it's a fair shot.
Can't be me. I'm gutted.
Well, okay then. I suppose we say, Come On United.